You've been drinking coffee with cinnamon on an empty stomach for a while now, probably because you've read or heard that it's good for your circulation, to keep your sugar levels stable, and to start the day with more energy. Oh, and you're partly right, but after 50 something, that the same habit, prepared exactly the way most people do, is doing to your circulatory system something you don't see. That doesn't hurt at first. That builds up silently while you keep thinking you're doing everything right. Today, I'm not going to tell you to give up coffee or cinnamon. I'm going to show you what really happens and why the way you prepare it changes everything. Because that's the catch. Coffee with cinnamon has a well-earned reputation as a healthy habit. There are real reasons behind that. The problem isn't that you're wrong in thinking it's good for you. The problem is that there's a part of that story that no one has told you, and that part after 50 is the one that matters most. Have you ever woken up with cold feet? No, a little cold. Really cold. The ones that take until late in the morning to warm up, legs that are heavier than they forgot 5 years ago. The energy from the first coffee that lasts less than it used to. That boost that used to exist but now flattens out before noon. Many men assume that this is just age, that the body simply takes longer to get going, and with that explanation, they stop investigating further. They blame the weather, the cold apartment, or the fact that they didn't sleep well. What very few consider is that what they drink each morning, exactly how they prepare it, could have something to do with it all. That's what the detective begins to see when he looks closely at the whole picture, not the habit itself, the way, the moment, the exact combination. 3 details that make the difference between a ritual that sustains your body and one that tests it without you even realizing it. Before you start seeing all this, I want you to know something. I've spent years researching exactly the relationship between coffee, morning habits, and circulation in men over 50. And what I found led me to put together something concrete. That's why I created the digital book, 9 Coffee Recipes That Improve Circulation After 50. These are specific combinations with the ingredients that you probably already have in mind, so that this habit works in your favor from the first week. But first, let me explain what really happens to your circulation when you drink coffee with cinnamon on an empty stomach every day. I'm Carmen Navarro. For more than 20 years, I've been researching and sharing scientific studies on men's health to help men make informed decisions. What I've observed time and time again is that when it comes to habits like coffee, the right question is almost never whether to drink it, but how to prepare it, when, and with what. That difference for a man over 50 changes everything. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what happens to your circulation when you combine coffee and cinnamon on an empty stomach, phase by phase. From the first of the day to months of accumulated habit to months habit. I'm not going to give you a yes or no answer, because that answer doesn't help you. The one that works for you is the one that explains the complete mechanism, so that you can make an informed decision about a habit that is already part of your life. And when you finish this video, you will know precisely where your body is right now and what to do with that information. You understand what is happening. We need to start at the base, and I am going to ask you to visualize something specific. Think of the network of pipes in an old building. The central pump, it is still working. It has not stopped. But over the years, the pipes have accumulated small deposits on their walls. They are less flexible than before, and the pressure needs to be more precise so that the water reaches all the floors with force, especially those furthest from the central core. Something similar happens in your body after 50. The heart continues to pump, but the blood vessels, especially the smallest ones, the capillaries, the extremities, respond differently than they did 2 decades ago. They need more from you, not more effort, more correct information. Now, add this information. What you consume on an empty stomach before your body has processed anything else hits your system faster and with fewer filters than at any other time of day. An empty stomach acts like a fast-track highway. The active compounds in coffee and cinnamon don't encounter other foods to slow them down. They get there fast. They're absorbed quickly. And in a circulatory system that no longer responds with the same elasticity it did 20 years ago. That speed has consequences that most men never connect with that sip each morning. The detective, looking at that painting, sees something that the man drinking that coffee doesn't usually see. The same action, repeated with precision each morning, can be the single most influential variable in how your body feels for the rest of the day, Milica. That makes that first coffee of the day more powerful than it seems, for better or worse, There's a man whose story I want you to keep in mind as I tell you all this, because what happened to him happens to many men without them knowing it. Antonio was 61 years old and lived in Valencia. He'd used the same routine for 4 years. He would wake up at 6:30, go straight to the kitchen, and the first thing he would have was coffee with cinnamon. No breakfast, no water before, just coffee. Antonio also had something he didn't associate with that. Cold feet. Not just a little cold, really cold. It would take him half an hour to feel his temperature normalize. He thought it was the apartment. It was near the river. There was always a current. 4 years assuming it was the environment. 4 years without considering that what he ate every morning, exactly as he prepared it, could have something to do with it. We'll return to Antonio at the end of the video. Now that you understand the mechanism, the expressway, the vascular system that no longer responds the same, let's see exactly what happens in your body. Hour by hour, day by day, week by week, in the first few hours, the ones that immediately follow that first coffee on an empty stomach, two things happen at the same time, and most men only perceive one of them. What you feel, a boost of energy, perhaps, a slight warmth in your chest, the feeling that the day has begun, that is in motion. That feeling is real. You're not making it up. Coffee has active compounds that stimulate the nervous system, and cinnamon adds its own effect on metabolism. The detective observing this picture sees a clear positive signal, but the same detective also notices what you don't see. The smaller blood vessels, those that irrigate the hands, feet, legs, and areas furthest from the heart, register a readjustment that does not reach consciousness. It does not hurt, does not cause discomfort, does not produce any visible alarm. It just happens silently, quietly. The body processes the active compounds of this combination more directly on an empty stomach than on a full stomach. Research indicates that an empty stomach amplifies the speed of absorption of the active compounds in both ingredients. What should be a gradual process becomes an immediate one, and cinnamon, depending on its origin and quantity, interacts with that process in a way that is not the same for all men, and that after 50 has nuances that a younger body simply does not experience in the same way. In the first few hours, many men do not notice anything worrying. They drink their coffee, feel the initial rasa, and call it a day. The problem is not in what they feel, it is in what they do not feel. And that has been happening silently since that first morning. And that is just the beginning. In the following days, the accumulation begins to manifest itself in a way that many men are well aware of, but that they rarely connect with a coffee every morning. What happens in the first days of this habit is a silent accumulation, not dramatic, not painful, silent, and constant. The body begins to anticipate the stimulus. This is what biological systems do when they receive the same signal repeatedly at the same time each day. They prepare for it. The circulatory system tries to adapt, and this is where the story divides into two paths. Various studies on vascular habits suggest that the consistency of the same stimulus while fasting repeated over days begins to modify the body's response in ways that are non-uniform among people. In some men, the body takes advantage of the combination. The active compounds in coffee and cinnamon find the right environment, the right ratio, the right type of cinnamon, the time that maximizes absorption without overloading this system. These men report more warmth in their extremities in the morning. According, the energy that used to level off before noon is now sustained with more consistency. It is a sign that the circulatory system is responding, not adapting to survive the stimulus, but eating from it and in other men, the picture is the opposite. Their feet are still cold when they wake up. The initial energy from coffee lasts less than it did a few months ago. The first digestion of the day feels heavier, more intense. There is no clear alarm moment, just the persistent feeling that something is not working as it should. Those are the first clues. The first time the body shows where the pattern is going, and the detective who looks at these clues knows that the question is not whether something is happening, but which of the two groups you fall into. What the detective also knows is that at this stage, there is still room for correction. The body has not consolidated a definitive answer. It is searching, it is adjusting, and what it finds in the following weeks will determine whether that adjustment works in your favor or ends up blocking the benefit that this habit could give you, but this habit could. The answer to that question becomes much more evident as this accumulates over weeks and the impact becomes measurable. In the following weeks, the pattern is no longer ambiguous. The body leaves the temporary adaptation phase and begins to consolidate a response. A response that from then on is much harder to reverse without doing something concrete or create. If the combination is well formulated, the right proportion of cinnamon, the right type, the right time in relation to the first meal of the day, research indicates that the peripheral circulation begins to show perceptible changes. Many men at this stage, I just described that their extremities no longer take as long to warm up in the morning, that the feeling of heavy legs that they thought were inevitable starts to be less and constant, that the energy boost from coffee no longer wears off in the first hour. But if any element of that combination is not right, something that most men are unable to identify because no one has ever explained to them as explain, the body builds an adaptive response that progressively blocks part of the benefit. The circulatory system, unable to process the signal optimally, learns to tolerate the stimulus without extracting from it what could have improved circulation, eventually becomes a habit that the body simply manages without actually improving anything. The information you're receiving is educational, not a substitute for medical advice. If your symptoms persist, talk to a healthcare professional. And what determines which of these two paths you are on right now and how to reverse it if necessary is exactly what we have not yet covered in this video. You still drink coffee with cinnamon on an empty stomach every day, but there's something happening in your body that no one has ever explained to you. After 50, your circulatory system doesn't respond as it used to. It takes longer for your body to get blood to your extremities, and your feet and hands don't warm up until late in the morning, and your legs just don't feel as agile as they used to. And the strangest thing is that you still do everything the same. You wake up at the same time, you go straight to the kitchen. The coffee with cinnamon is ready before your body has finished waking up. It's just that your body is not the same anymore. Now think with me for a moment. What if it's not the coffee with cinnamon that's wrong, but the way you learn to prepare it? Because there are specific combinations with ingredients that you probably already have at home that when prepared correctly help maintain a smoother circulation from the first hours of the day naturally. At the same time, there are common ways of preparing your morning coffee that end up making your body slower and colder without you even realizing it right away. It was with that in mind that I created the digital book, 9 Coffee Recipes That Improve Circulation After 50, but this is not about recipes, it's about transforming a habit you already have into something that works in favor of your circulation from the first dabble than me first sip. These are specific combinations that help improve peripheral circulation naturally. They bring a real sense of warmth and vitality throughout the day and restore something that many people begin to believe they've lost over time. The feeling that your body responds when you need it. And when you feel it in practice, you realize that it was the lack of vitality. It was just the wrong way of doing something you already did every day. Access is available now, but the truth is that few people talk about this type of simple adjustment, which is why this material may not be available for a long time. Download it right now. It's available in the first pinned comment. And if you're watching this on TV, just scan the QR code in the corner of the screen to access it. And when your body starts responding differently, you'll understand that it was never just about the coffee. If you were one of the first to download it, come back here and tell me in the comments how the book helped you. Now I have a suggestion for you. This week, it's just the way you prepare your cinnamon coffee, just like you did today, just for 7 days. And tell me in the comments if you notice anything different in your body. I'm interested in knowing what you feel. And when we talk about months and years, the story gets more serious. Over the months and years, the effects of this habit, well or poorly formulated, become difficult to ignore. They are no longer subtle signs. They are part of everyday life. For a man over 50, peripheral circulation does not improve by inertia. It is not something that just recovers with time. Natural vascularity declines with age. That is a documented process. What makes the difference is not whether this process occurs, but whether daily habits speed it up or slow it down. And a habit repeated every morning on an empty stomach, every day of the year, is one of those that most influences this balance. Longitudinal research indicates that men who maintain consistent habits of consuming vasoactive compounds, such as the combination of coffee and cinnamon under conditions of optimal absorption, tend to report better body temperature in their extremities, thus less morning fatigue and a general feeling of greater vitality during the central hours of the day. Those who maintain the same habit without the right conditions report the opposite pattern. The initial effect gradually levels off. The body gets used to the stimulus without extracting any real benefit from it. And the symptoms that characterize weak circulation, heavy legs when getting up, cold hands and feet, low energy when fasting, begin to normalize, to be treated as an inevitable part of aging, when in reality, in many cases, they are reversible. Lampesical. The specific position is this. For a man over 50, cinnamon coffee on an empty stomach can be one of the simplest and most accessible that tweaks to his circulation, or one of the most counterproductive. It's not about the habit itself, it's about how it's prepared. That distinction isn't a minor nuance. It's the difference between whether that first sip each morning works for your body or against it. But the good news, and this is the part I want you to take away, is that the path in the right direction doesn't require starting from scratch. What happens when a man adjusts the way he prepares his cinnamon coffee? The changes aren't immediate. The body needs time to recognize a different cue and reorganize itself around it. But in the first few weeks, many men report that their extremities start to feel warmer earlier in the day. The morning starts to feel different, not like starting a cold engine, but like a body that's already been waiting to get going. In the weeks that follow, many describe something more sustained. The energy boost from coffee no longer wears off in the first hour. The feeling that used to last until 9 a.m. starts to spread out more. The body no longer needs a second push before noon. In the first month, something more subtle, but more significant. The feeling of heavy legs upon waking, which many Men had accepted as part of their daily reality begins to submit sekok unumukok. It doesn't disappear suddenly, but it's no longer the first thing they feel when they put their feet on the floor. Research shows that these types of changes in peripheral circulation don't do major lifestyle changes. They require precision in these small things, messy. And coffee with cinnamon on an empty stomach, but prepared the right way, is precision that is accessible every day at no additional cost, without extraordinary effort, without changing anything else in your routine. Do you know someone who drinks coffee with cinnamon on an empty stomach every day? Share this video with them now. What you've just learned can make a real difference in their day-to-day life, and they probably don't know it. Let's put together everything we've seen today. First, we understood that coffee with cinnamon on an empty stomach is not neutral after 50 ITRA. It reaches the circulatory system faster and with fewer filters than at any other time of day. That makes it a powerful tool in both directions. Second, we saw that the body responds differently depending on how the combination is formulated. The same routine can sustain peripheral circulation or silently wear it down, depending on details that most men are unaware of. The third, we verified that the changes are real and noticeable, but that they require precision, not radical effort. The body doesn't need you to do more it's you to do the right thing. Now imagine the next few weeks. If you adjust the way you prepare this combination, your body will start to register the difference but before you clearly notice it. Feet that you do to take up to half a day to warm up will start to do so sooner. The energy of the first hour will cease to be that peak which flattens out on its own and will spread out more during the day. In the following weeks, the feeling of heaviness that many men accept as inevitable begins to be less constant, elastant. There will be mornings when you wake up and something will be different. You may not be able to name it exactly yet, but your body will have registered it. And in the first month, if you're consistent, what once seemed irreversible will start to move. That slow start, that body that was slow to respond, many men describe it as something that doesn't feel the same anymore. Not because they did something radical, because they did something specific. And if you're thinking, I've been in this habit for too long for anything to change, Shani, think back to Antonio, 4 years old, the same routine, the same cold feet, the same conviction that it was the apartment, the river, the stream, it wasn't any of those things. It was the way he made his coffee. When he adjusted that way, his body began to wake up differently, not all at once, gradually, but the direction changed, and that was enough. And you have something he didn't have at that time, the information to act now. Maya, you've spent your life taking care of everyone else. Now it's time to take care of yourself. Stop ignoring the signals your body is already giving you. Heavy legs up on waking, persistent cool hands and feet. It didn't just happen. Download the digital book now, 9 coffee recipes that improve circulation after 50 and discover how to transform a simple habit into more active circulation and sustained energy throughout the day. If you're on your phone or computer, the link is in the pinned comment below. If you're watching this on TV, just point your phone's camera at the QR code on the screen and access will open directly. But be careful. This material is usually not available for long. Click now and start feeling in your own body the ways that small adjustments can make. Until next time, I'm Carmen Navarro. Stay informed, stay vital. Your best years are not behind you. They can start now. Important note, this video is for informational and educational purposes only. It does not replace medical advice.